This segment of the Chopin podcast is brought to you by the Chopin Foundation of the United States, dedicated to promoting young American pianists and making Chopin's music accessible to all. We've reached the home stretch of the Chopin podcast, and it seems appropriate to end with one last visit to Garrick Ohlsson's home studio, where I was lucky enough to sit beside his Bosendorfer with him for the last few episodes. At the end of our final session together, I asked him to reflect on the umpteen hours he spent in interviews with me revisiting the music he's dedicated much of his life to. Garrick, I don't know if this will be the last thing you say on the Chopin podcast, but any reflections on just the going through Chopin's music so thoroughly yet again in this format? I know you've been working on it your whole life, but in the past few months, kind of digging back into it, what has it been like for you to kind of revisit works you know so well?
It's been moving and astonishing because just like when you know something really well, I'm going to try this as an analogy. It may not work. You know, for example, if you go to Manhattan as a tourist, one of the things you could do is just take the Circle Line tour around. That's really nice. Mm-hmm. It's way nicer if you live in New York because you know so much more. Mm-hmm. You know, you don't have to be told. Right. It's like, oh, this is that. And oh, I used to live there. Mm-hmm. Or my friend lives there. Oh, my car was towed away here. I mean, you just have a much richer range of associations than a tourist who's, you know, doesn't know a thing. And it's the same way right now. I feel like I've been on a Circle Line tour of Chopin, a place that I've been, so associated with, and just to be hit with all this beauty and variety and ingeniousness and genius and inspiration and mastery, and it's a knockout. I mean, just to have it, it's like the most extravagant banquet you can imagine. I mean, just quite. I mean, it's. I get very excited and moved by it, and even trying to show certain things, sometimes I get carried away because I get so excited about the music, and maybe because I don't have to perform a whole piece, you know, because I can just say, oh, you know, we can look at highlights too. You know, I don't have to say, well, you know, there's apartment 17A on East 82nd Street. It's like, there's the East Side. Right. You can get the whole thing, you know, and it's been great. I've loved it, and I'm even impressed with myself sometimes how well I know some things.
Are there any pieces that we've revisited throughout the podcast where you're thinking to yourself, you know what, I might bring that back, turns out?
Oh yeah, very often.
Yeah, you're bringing it back? Or now you want to?
I want to. This one. The Three Great Polonaises.
Okay.
I haven't played them that much lately. There are quite a few mazurkas. Third Ballade I haven't played in a long time.
I think maybe Fourth Ballade is the one I was wondering, because it's been 30 years since that one too.
Well, 20 maybe.
20, yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure I've played it in the meantime, but not much. I sort of got intimidated by it. I think I'm intimidated by the Fourth Ballade because of Hoffman's performance, which I don't necessarily approve of all of.
Yeah,
but it's like, of all the possible readings of this, it's...
I love that you're still intimidated by the recordings.
Staggering. But not that there aren't other great ones. There are indeed, including Cortot, by the way. No slouch. And, but I think I might be ready to have another dive in the F minor Ballade too. I think, as my teacher Irma used to say after, I have ideas as to what to do with it. I don't know if they'll be any good, but.
Well, I think that says it all. The fact that you can bring this music back for the umpteenth time and still have new things to say about it and new ideas.
Yeah, and feel that it's nourishing in the best sense because, you know, I've said this too often in interviews, but Chopin is also, among other things, the greatest pastry chef among composers. Bar none, nobody touches it. And there is this feeling that Chopin, of course, it's like sweets. How can they be good for you if they're so delicious?
Well, it turns out he served up a lot of nutritious appetizers and main dishes as well before the dessert. So
he didn't, but he tends to have a shine on his music that I think the Puritans among the world have distrusted for a long time. And I think he was maybe, in some ways, for my time, though, but he was maybe overpopular, at least certain pieces. I know that, for example, when I play an all Chopin recital now, very often the reaction is, "Oh, we haven't had anything like that for a long time." Whereas
used to be the norm.
I know that when I was a kid growing up, sometimes the sophisticated, oh God, so-and-so's going to be playing an old Chopin. Oh, not another one of those. But of course, that's also foolish sophistication.
The only time I've heard that lately is because I've been putting out so much Chopin content. You do get the occasional rare naysayer who's like, oh, come on, not more Chopin. I think they've had a little too much chocolate, and they're just ready for whatever, the meat and potatoes again. But
well, and you just have been in Miami for that whole thing.
Yeah,
Chopin.
I didn't get a break.
All day, every day, as I think you will in Warsaw.
I think that we're going to be hearing a lot more Chopin this year.
Yes.
2026, may it be dedicated to Beethoven and other great composers, as well as Chopin. Yes, all the great Bs, of course.
Yeah, no, there's enough music out there, that's for sure. No, because when I won the Chopin Prize, sometimes interviewers or people would say, aren't you sick of Chopin and you're dying to play something else? And I thought, well, I do want to play lots of other things, but no, I'm not sick of Chopin.
This project has made me more appreciative of Chopin. It's the great test. If you want to find out if a composer is overrated or underrated, or properly rated, try making a lengthy podcast series about them, and I think you'll find out the answer to that question. Yeah. And my answer was, the more I dove into almost every single piece that we discussed, the more I realized I didn't know about it. And every time I listen now, there's something new. It's brought back pieces that I like the second scherzo was a piece I mentioned for a decade or two. I kind of gave up on.
Oh yeah.
And that has been revitalized.
I couldn't hear it for a long time.
Yeah, that's been revitalized for me. It made being at the Chopin competition even more meaningful because every work everybody played, almost, we had discussed in detail, and I just had, it was a joy to listen to other people play it, actually. So I think these things, there's a feedback loop that ends up making, it's hard to get sick of something with so many layers and so much depth and so much emotional power. So
one lacks words almost. It's really just been tremendous, actually. I've loved it.
One with a handshake. Thank you, Garrick.
Thank you, Ben.
It's been great. If you enjoyed this series, consider joining my Patreon, where members receive a discount on the new line of Chopin podcast merch, and also gain access to countless hours of exclusive content from guest interviews across the 16-part series, including some of my favorite scenes with Garrick that were either too technical or tangential to include in the main episodes. And for this episode, you'll find bonus scenes from my interviews with Kate Liu, Manny Axe, and Alec Laskowski. What was supposed to be 12 one-hour episodes ended up tripling in size, and if you count all the bonus content, it nearly quadrupled. Exactly a year since the series launched, we've received over 100,000 podcast episode downloads and more than 2 million views on the YouTube segment. The series ballooned into such an exhaustive survey of Chopin's music, it required me to mobilize a team to build the Chopin Podcast Opus Index, a multimedia reference tool where you can search for just about any Chopin piece and access on-demand commentary and demonstrations by Garrick Ohlsson and other guests in this series. Whether you're following the Chopin competition or just want to go down a Chopin rabbit hole, visit index.chopinpodcast.com. The Chopin Podcast would not have been possible without the contributions of numerous individuals. First and foremost, Barbara Muse, whose partnership and guidance was indispensable to bringing this series to life. I was also assisted along the way by several multi-talented young musicians. Abby Tilton, who helped get the first few podcast videos off the ground and became the chief score creator for the YouTube segments. Mark Rao, who assisted in my initial research for scripts and interviews. Karina Sang, whom I met and interviewed at the Miami competition, and soon after came on board to give the podcast website a makeover and take over social media and graphic design duties. Karina was also part of the Opus Index team that was led by Ethan Chilton, who since season 1 of the podcast has helped prepare edit timelines for countless hours of guest interviews. I also wouldn't have made it past episode 1 without the moral support and endless tolerance of my wife, Sasha Kosman Laude, who was by my side every step of the way since I embarked on this project. And of course, the Chopin podcast has been standing on the shoulders of giants. Thank you to Garrick and the more than 24 special guests who lent their wisdom and expertise to this series. We began this final episode with Chopin's first published work, the C minor Rondo, Opus 1, so it's fitting to end with his last, a movement from his cello sonata, Opus 65, performed by Carter Bray and none other than Garrick Ohlsson at the piano. Thank you for listening to the Chopin podcast, and enjoy this Swan song.